Chapter 19. Wen had a lot of information to impart to her team that morning. However, most of it was tightening up loose ends, not actually furthering their investigation. Right, folks, can I have your attention, please? We've loads to get through. She turned to the whiteboard, which was starting to look a mess. Scribbles, arrows, crossing outs. She really needed to condense it into relevant material. First of all, the profile. I'll take you through the highlights, but you all have a full report in your files and I expect you to read it. And read it properly, not just give it a cursory glance. People mumbled and pages were turned. Normally, a serial killer is defined as someone who commits 3 or more murders, spaced out over a period of time. Usually, they have the same MO and their victims have a common denominator, though where they commit their crimes can be a small geographical area or a wider one, which is why we have homes. The national database should check for similar crimes in different regions. However, our killer has so far not followed any of these rules, apart from keeping to a small geographical area. There is nothing on the national database to suggest he's killed outside our area. Wen paused for a moment to collect her thoughts. Dr. Morgan thinks the killer is a very disturbed person who has been ignored in the past and made to feel useless. He is likely to have suffered physically and mentally. He's probably been sexually abused, and he's a very damaged individual. The killer wants people to take notice and wants to be caught, but only when the time is right. Does that mean he intends to kill again? Jake asked from behind his bank of screens. Yes, at least once, Wen said, and she was glad Becky wasn't in yet. We aren't going to let that happen if we can help it. What else have we got? The DNA found in the woods was from victim number 2. Forensics think the killer may have wiped his hands on the grass when he stopped to take the photos. No other DNA has helped so far, and we still haven't got names for our 2 victims. Jake, any news on our missing men? No, Ma'am. Though we did get an anonymous call to say the Pole had gone off to London, so we've passed his info to the Met and Immigration. OK. We know he's not one of our victims. His DNA has excluded him. What about Martin Grimes? Any news on him? No, Ma'am, said Richard, but I'm interviewing his CPN today at the mental health unit, so I might get some leads while I'm there. And I have a possible suspect for copying the keys, Cassie said from the front of the room. She had reported straight back to Wen after her interview with Tori, and now she would share with the rest of the team. A David Lowry, estate agent, had the keys in his possession for a few hours a couple of weeks ago. He has his own estate agency, but he's also a chartered surveyor, so he does surveys for other agents. He can't do them for his own clients due to conflict of interest. Jess Roden and I are going to have a word with Mr. Lowry this morning and see what he's got to say. Jake, any more missing women that might fit our female victim? Wen asked. Nothing of note, boss. A few I'm following up, but I'm not hopeful. Right. Well, carry on with that, and Becky will be helping you later. Let's get to it. Where is Becky? Jake asked Richard in a conspiratorial whisper as the team dispersed. She's going to do afternoons for the next week, following up leads from here. The boss thought it would be less stressful while she's staying with her ex if they weren't thrown together too much. See, she does have a heart, Jake said with a smile. Mr. Lowry, could we have a quick chat, please? Wen and Cassie held up their ID cards for the man to see. He rose from his desk looking a little flustered. Yes, of course. He led the way to his office at the back of the agency. Sitting behind his desk, he gestured for the pair to take a seat. What can I do for you? Though if it's about that missing girl, I've already told the other officer I can't help. No, this is a different matter, sir. He shrugged and appeared very uncomfortable. Look, I'm not ashamed of who I am, but I do realise that we should have been more careful. Sex in a car isn't very dignified, and if someone saw us... Sorry, sir, I'm not with you. Cassie tried not to smile at the man's discomfort. The car sex, isn't that what you're here about? No, a completely unrelated matter, actually. Wen frowned. Oh, right. The man swallowed hard. His face had a slight sheen of perspiration on it. Wen looked at Cassie and then back to David Lowry. Can we start again, sir? Yes, I think we should. Wen suppressed a smile. You had the keys for 28 Meadow View in your possession for a short while, for the purposes of carrying out a survey. Did I? Possibly. I can't remember. Let me check my diary. He opened his laptop and tapped away at the keys for a few moments. When was this? About 2 weeks ago, said Cassie, consulting her pocketbook. Ah, yes, here it is. The survey that never was. The couple selling changed their minds or something. How long did you have the keys? Asked Wen. Half a day, I think. Why? Did anyone else have a chance to get to them? No, I had them in my briefcase. I always keep keys in my case. And that was with you at all times? Wen looked the man in the eye and held his gaze for a few seconds. Of course. Can you tell us what you did that day? I picked up the keys from Foreman and Blanchard on my way into work. I worked here for most of the morning, and then when I was heading to the car to go and do the survey, I got a call to say not to bother. And what did you do then? Wen inquired. I came back in here. No, I didn't. Now I think about it. I was outside 24/7 when I got the phone call, so I went in there for a coffee. Then I came back here, dropped the keys off, back at Foreman's, on my way to a viewing. You had them for more than 2 hours then? Cassie queried. About 3.5, I suppose. And in all that time the case never left your side? Wen asked. Not at all, except when I went to the loo in 24/7. But I pushed my case right under my chair and I put my coat over it. Then, in theory, sir, somebody at the coffee shop could have taken them out of your case when you went to the men's room. Wen leaned forward, putting her linked hands on the desk. No, I have a lock on my case and I'm the only one that knows the combination. Am I right in thinking that the officer that came into the agency the other day was DC Wainwright? I don't know, was it? She was pretty and interested in a flat we're selling, but I can't remember her name. Thank you for your cooperation, sir, said Wen. We shall be in touch if we need to talk to you again. On her way to the door, Cassie looked over her shoulder. Tori says hi. Unprofessional? Yes. Worth it for the look on his face? Definitely. As they walked back to the car, Cassie spoke first. I don't trust him. 1 minute he couldn't remember the request, and the next he told us about the whole morning in Technicolor. Maybe he was reading from his diary, but I agree, he's a slimy individual. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. But he is an estate agent after all. Sorry I've had to alter this appointment with you twice, said Richard. The man sitting across from him smiled. No problem. At least you let me know. I'm used to my clients not showing up and then I have to chase them. Bit like you, really. We often have to do detective work when someone goes AWOL. I suppose it is. You can even detain someone without their consent. When we do that, to be fair, it's usually because they aren't able to give their consent. Joss Parker was about 40 and seemed very laid back. His hair was slightly too long to suit his face, and he had 5 earrings in one ear and a big gauge in the other. If he ever took it out, the lobe would look as if someone had shot a big hole in it. So, how can I help you? I believe you wanted to talk about Martin.
Martin Grimes, yes. He's one of your missing clients at the moment, I believe.
Yes, and I'm worried about him, I won't lie.
That's always a plus when you're talking to a police officer, Mr. Parker.
The man laughed. Just a figure of speech. Call me Joss, please.
Any ideas where Martin might be hiding himself, Joss?
No, I've tried all the usual places. Hospitals, doss houses, anyone he had a personal connection with, though they were few and far between.
And no luck?
No. All I can presume is he's sleeping rough somewhere. He's done that before. But he's been off his medication for at least a week, and that worries me.
When he was admitted after the arson attack, did he connect with anyone then? Do you know of?
I wouldn't know, said Joss. I'm not based in the unit, though I do go and see my clients when they're in there.
So, what do you do?
The clue's in my title, Community Psychiatric Nurse. I work in the community, seeing people in their own homes and at clinics.
Sorry, but do you keep in touch with anyone that's admitted?
Richard was trying to get his head around the workings of the mental health service. Yes, for continuity of care. Sometimes they trust us more than the staff at the unit, which changes all the time. I'm a friendly face, they know. Well, hopefully. And they see me as friendly.
Oh, I see. I've not had many dealings with your type of work before.
Really? I find that hard to believe, since half of the people in prison have mental health issues. Anyway, to get back to your original question. Connections. I've pulled Martin's records, and while he was in last time, he joined a few classes. Joss consulted the file. Art, drama, and creative writing groups.
OK. Can I have the names of the other inpatients who were in those classes and the tutors, please?
Yes and no. Richard stared at Joss as if he'd just developed a second head.
Excuse me? I need that information. This is a double murder investigation, sir.
Joss seemed completely unmoved by Richard's change of tone. Sorry, mate. Rules is rules. I can give you the tutors' names because I know you could get those quite easily for yourself. The inpatients, however, are a different matter, I'm afraid. Richard was tempted to say, be afraid. Be very afraid. But common sense and not wanting to look a total idiot took over at the last second, and he remained quiet. If you want that sort of information, you'll have to get at ADP1. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. Civil liberties, data protection, and all that. With that, Richard got up, thanked his interviewee through thin lips, and left.